In the heart of towering structures of Los Angeles lies a hotel with a history as enigmatic as the city itself. Within the walls of the Cecil Hotel, an intriguing story unfolds, haunting the corridors with unexplained events and a perplexing disappearance. A young Canadian traveler arrives on the West Coast, seeking adventure only to vanish without a trace, leaving behind a maze of unanswered questions. Today, we explore the chilling case of Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam is a 21-year-old girl from Vancouver, Canada, the daughter of immigrants from Hong Kong. She studied at the University of British Columbia. Elisa struggled with her mental health and even had to drop out of classes because of it. She was an introvert, and to express herself, she started a blog called Ether Fields, sharing her life's moments and sometimes fashionable pictures of models. But inside, she felt lost and worried about her future. Her social media accounts were like her personal diary, a place without filters, a safe place where she posted everything. In 2012, Elisa Lam yearned for an escape from the ordinary. Her dream of exploring California beckoned, but as a student, she was low on funds. Determined to turn her dream into reality, she toiled in various odd jobs, saving every penny for her coveted journey. However, her desire to travel faced not only financial obstacles, but also family concerns. To her parents, Elisa was still their cherished little girl, and the prospect of her traveling abroad solo felt unsettling. After persistent persuasion, Elisa finally convinced them, promising daily updates. "You may go," they said, with the condition that she maintained daily communication. She meticulously organized her journey, mapping it from Santiago to Los Angeles, then Santa Cruz, and ending in San Francisco. This itinerary outlined her ideal West Coast tour, where she actively sought recommendations and suggestions from her blog audience. Elisa embarked on a journey to America in January 2013. She rode trains and buses, exploring places like the San Diego Zoo, capturing moments and posting them online. Eventually, she reached Los Angeles, where she checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown LA. She stayed in a shared room in the Cecil Hotel at $85 a night, a preferred choice for guests from foreign countries at the Cecil. On January 28, 2013, Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel, planning to stay for 4 days. Her assigned room was 506BE, a female bunk room, a choice often preferred by budget-conscious young travelers for its cleanliness despite the shared community, toilets, and showers in the hotel. It was a place that offered basic comfort within her means. She settled in, expecting to check out on February 1st, embracing the budget-friendly accommodations the hotel provided. On January 30th, she attended a live taping of Conan in Burbank. Then, she vanished. Elisa's story became a haunting mystery entwined with the walls of the Cecil Hotel, a mystery that Los Angeles couldn't quite explain. Amy Price, the hotel manager at the Cecil, received word that one of the guests, Elisa Lam, had left her belongings behind and left the hotel. For Amy, this wasn't an unusual occurrence. It was common for guests to forget or abandon their possessions. She'd encountered various odd situations during her tenure, even finding a snake in a bathtub once. Following standard protocol, Amy instructed the staff to gather Elisa Lam's stuff, which was then securely bagged up and stored. As Elisa had paid for a 4-day stay, her time at the hotel had seemingly come to an end, aligning with the routine procedures followed in such instances. Elisa had promised her parents daily calls, but when she disappeared on February 1st, 2013, she went silent, worrying her family. They reached out to the LAPD for help. Around 20 detectives swamped the Cecil Hotel, searching for any clues. They knew even a small lead could make a difference. Their first step, talk to the hotel staff. Housekeeping, in charge of Elisa's things, met with the detectives. The employee told the police her room was messy, but nothing seemed suspicious. No drugs or illegal stuff was found in the room. Following the discovery of Elisa's belongings, detectives found no leads on her whereabouts. It became crucial to locate witnesses. Amy Price provided a list of all hotel guests and employees, a roster of around 50 staff members. Digging into Elisa's digital footprint via her blogs, detectives uncovered a trail. They realized Elisa was open to meeting new people. Her Tumblr account hinted at her attendance at the Conan TV show filming. Further investigation unveiled Elisa's visit to a bookstore on the day she disappeared. Detectives visited the store. The bookstore staff remembered Elisa well, an outgoing, friendly, and lively young woman who left an impression on those she encountered. 5 days had passed since Elisa's disappearance, and the detectives began to speculate if the Cecil Hotel held some connection to her vanishing. The hotel itself seemed as much a character in this story as Elisa was. The Cecil Hotel had a rich history intertwined with the bustling growth of Los Angeles. In 1919, during LA's booming era, people flocked to the city, making downtown the epicenter of the explosion. In 1924, the Cecil Hotel emerged, a grand establishment costing a staggering $1 million, a colossal sum at that time. With its 700 rooms, the Cecil wasn't a luxurious spot, but rather a haven for travelers, positioned near the Pacific Electric Light Rail Station, which saw over 1 lakh commuters. The 1920s were bustling for the Cecil as business thrived amid the city's growth. Then this happened. Following the economic depression in 1929, by the early 1930s, the Cecil Hotel struggled. It became a safe place for older men seeking to spend as little as possible for extended stays. The hotel transitioned through various phases over its history. Even in the 80s and 90s, the Cecil remained a choice for Skid Row's inhabitants, the homeless. With just a few dollars, they could secure a room, inviting their female companions upstairs. Despite its controversial reputation, the hotel boasted amenities like color TVs and carpeted floors. The Cecil Hotel was no stranger to illegal activities, drugs, prostitution, and theft. During those times, it was a scandalous place to be associated with. Like the grandeur of the Titanic at its inception, the Cecil faced a similar fate. Once majestic but gradually sinking. In 2007, the Cecil Hotel was sold for $27 million, considered the worst hotel in LA's downtown area. It was then that Amy Price took on the daunting task of renovating the troubled establishment. Since the police were unable to find leads, on February 6, 2013, 6 days after Elisa Lam's disappearance, the LAPD organized a press conference with Elisa's family quietly present in the background, declining to answer any questions. The primary aim was to seek public assistance in the case. Skid Row loomed near the Cecil Hotel, an area notorious for its dire reputation. Despite staying at the Cecil and venturing into the neighborhood, little would the guests realize they were stepping into one of LA's most dangerous and violent areas. The question lingered, could someone from Skid Row be involved in Elisa Lam's disappearance? The area had a history. In the early 1970s, the city implemented a containment policy using police barriers to confine Skid Row's population within its boundaries, preventing their movement out of it, a strategy to contain the troubles within Skid Row itself. The Cecil Hotel had a dark history. It was more than just a place for tourists. Unbeknownst to many, it served as an alternative to apartment living for those without a security deposit, or unable to pass background checks, or evading detection. The person in the hotel elevator could be someone with a troubling past, like an 85-year-old sex offender who had nowhere else to go. One of the guests on the 14th floor paid a mere $14 a night for a room. He was a nightmarish figure, a sadistic killer known as the Night Stalker. responsible for a series of 14 brutal killings and rapes. The Night Stalker's ritual after committing such heinous acts was chilling, arriving at the Cecil. He would discard his blood-soaked clothes, strolling barefoot in just his bloody underwear to his room, time and again. Safety and security were perpetual concerns at the Cecil. In Amy Price's decade-long tenure, thousands of 911 calls for help were made. The LAPD received an average of 2 to 3 calls every single day from the hotel. Incidents ranged from attempted arson in hallways to cases of domestic abuse, drug overdoses, fights, assaults, and stabbings. Once, the LAPD even deployed a sniper in the hotel's corridors to catch a stabbing suspect on the loose. The hotel became a perilous environment, especially when unaware tourists were added to the mix, oblivious to the dangers lurking within its walls. The Cecil Hotel's notoriety led to a decline in its business due to bad reviews and its tainted reputation. To counter this, the Stay on Main Hotel emerged as a fresh wing, aiming to rejuvenate the establishment's image. This new setup divided the 14-story building into 3 sections. The lower 2 floors catered to long-term, low-rent tenants, while the following 3 floors constituted the Stay on Main Wing. Elisa Lam stayed in shared rooms here on the 5th floor. The remaining floors continued as the Cecil Hotel. 2 distinct lobbies were established within the same building, one for the Stay on Main Wing, and another for the tenants and the Cecil Hotel. The emergence of Stay on Main seemed promising. Everything seemed to improve, except for one significant concern: the shared elevators. These elevators allowed unrestricted access to any floor, blurring the division between the 2 sections of the hotel. The detectives stationed themselves in a hotel room, meticulously sifting through the Cecil Hotel's CCTV footage in search of Elisa Lam's movements. However, it was off-putting. The hotel's CCTV system was subpar, riddled with numerous blind spots and grainy footage, making their task challenging. Finally, a piece of footage surfaced, an eerie elevator recording of Elisa behaving oddly. Tracing her movements through the CCTV feed, the detectives reached a haunting conclusion: Elisa Lam had never left the hotel. The unsettling realization dawned upon them: she must still be somewhere inside the hotel. Their next daunting task was to locate her within the intricate confines of the building. 1 week passed since Elisa's disappearance. With no footage showing her leaving the Cecil Hotel, the detectives faced the monumental task of searching all 700 rooms. A team of 14 officers meticulously combed through, searching nearly 600 closets. They brought in canine units and expanded the search. Sniffing dogs tracked a scent from the 5th floor, leading toward a window. The trail vanished at a fire escape outside the window. Canines were then dispatched to scour the rooftop, aided by air support. A chopper with powerful lights illuminated every corner, yet Elisa remained elusive. Despite exhaustive efforts, there was no trace of her on the Cecil Hotel's rooftop. As 2 weeks passed, the typical turning point in missing persons cases raising suspicions of homicide, the detectives felt the pressure of time slipping away. Their search was interrupted when a new crisis emerged. A manhunt for Christopher Dorner, targeting cops in Southern California, diverted the majority of available resources. Only 4 officers remained dedicated to the Elisa Turner case, drastically altering the investigation's course. Seeking public assistance, the LAPD released the last known footage of Elisa captured in the hotel elevator on February 13, 2013.
The reason why we released that particular piece of video, because it gave everybody that was watching an indication of what Ms. Lam looked like. The only other photos we have were older photos from her Facebook, and we could see in the video that she didn't look very much like her Facebook photo.
However, this pivotal moment marked a turning point, sending the investigation into disarray. The elevator doors slid open, and a woman stepped in, a casual swing of her arm and a nonchalant bend to inspect the button panel closely. 3 rows of buttons awaited her touch, and she systematically pressed all the buttons on the center row. She then retreated to a corner of the elevator, seemingly at ease, but an eerie tension lingered as the doors didn't close. The situation took a strange turn when she poked her head out as if checking for someone. Swiftly retreating back, hiding in another corner, as if evading an unseen presence in the hallway. Moments later, she emerged again, her movements erratic, gestures inexplicably odd. Amidst the puzzling scenario, the elevator door remained wide open. With an uncanny display of hand-waving and contorted movements, she seemed almost as if summoning an unseen force. Her behavior was inexplicably bizarre. And then, suddenly, Elisa Lam vanished from view to the left of the elevator, her whereabouts thereafter unknown. As if following an eerie script, the elevator door closed eventually, only to reopen on the same floor. The peculiar incident, unfolding in such a brief span, stirred imaginations. Was it a paranormal occurrence? The video, capturing these inexplicable moments, quickly went viral, crafting a mini ghost tale, a haunting narrative of a girl in the elevator who mysteriously vanished.
See, that's why you're supposed to press the button that says close.
It's just so tense, like, she looks worried.
Close the door! If you're trying to hide from somebody, what are you doing?
She's like in the elevator. Didn't they find her body like in a water tank on the top of the...
Elisa Lam was murdered by a hotel worker or a guest. Shortly before her death, on the 13th of January, Elisa tweeted an article about a Canadian company who had gained funding from the Pentagon to work on futuristic cloaking devices that were to be used by the military to make their soldiers invisible. The development of cloaking devices is a long-running project between the United States and South Korea, and people think maybe Elisa knew too much. It's the thought that Elisa's death was caused by her taking part in the infamous elevator ritual. It's dubbed the most dangerous game in the world, and many believe that Elisa Lam tried this deadly game that claims to take you to another world.
And I've seen glimpses of it since, but it's distressing to know that whether or not there was somebody outside of that elevator to whom she is reacting, she is clearly in distress, afraid, upset, and whether that came from an external source or she was the victim of her own brain acting against her.
The compelling yet perplexing footage left many questioning the events surrounding Elisa's disappearance. The public speculation about Elisa Lam veered toward assumptions of her being on mind-altering drugs. Detectives revisited the hotel to delve deeper into Elisa's stay. Initially sharing a room, her strange behavior led to her relocation from room 506B to room 514. Where she stayed alone, things got weirder. Remember, Elisa went to a TV show taping, but something went wrong there too, and she got kicked out from there too for her strange behavior. 19 days elapsed since Elisa's disappearance, and on February 19, 2013, a couple staying at the Cecil Hotel began reconsidering their choice of accommodation. Despite the cheap rates, the unsettling news of a missing person, and the hotel's overall ambiance had become unbearable. They noticed a peculiar change. The tap's water pressure reduced significantly, its color now a disconcerting dark brown tint. They unwittingly used this water for brushing their teeth, showering, and even drinking, noticing an odd taste. Alarmed, they requested a room change. However, the water pressure issue persisted in the new room. Upon notifying the management, the maintenance staff was summoned to inspect. The 24-hour maintenance team discovered that the issue wasn't with the water pipes, but with the rooftop water tanks. The hotel housed 4 water tanks on its rooftop, and they either seemed clogged or drained. The towering water tanks, each over 10 feet in height, required maintenance staff to climb ladders for inspection. What they discovered inside was beyond comprehension. A naked body, identified as Elisa Lam, was found floating within one of the tanks. The police were immediately called.
Nearly 3 weeks after Elisa Lam went missing, a body has been found in a water tank on the roof of her hotel.
Within moments, a swarm of over 100 law enforcement officers descended upon the rooftop. Elisa's body was in an advanced state of decomposition, naked, with her garments discovered at the tank's bottom.
Right, the dog did not pick up on her scent, but a lot of things can happen. It could have been a couple of days from the time that she went missing to the time the dog went out there, and a body inside of a storage tank, the dog wouldn't be able to detect that scent generally.
Toxicological screenings ruled out the presence of mind-altering substances, with only minimal alcohol in her system. However, a concerning revelation emerged. Elisa was under-medicated for her bipolar disorder. There were no signs of foul play. Detectives grappled with the question, how did Elisa end up in the water tank, situated in such an inaccessible and confined space? This mysterious discovery further deepened the enigma surrounding her tragic death.
Yeah, I think there were two possibilities that a lot of folks were looking at when Elisa's body was found in the water tank, and one of them was suicide and one of them was murder. And, the coroner's concluded.
The detectives pieced together a plausible scenario. Elisa likely ventured towards the hallway, leading to the window connected to the fire escape, where the dog had traced her scent. Climbing out to the fire escape, she potentially ascended to the rooftop. The challenge lay in the peculiar design of the top floor staircase, a daunting ladder leading up 14 stories high. Considering her disturbed state, they chewed over whether she was capable of such a dangerous climb. However, an alternative route existed. An internal stairway led to the rooftop. But this staircase terminated at an alarmed door to the roof. Opening this door would trigger an alarm, drawing attention to anyone trying to access the rooftop through this route.
The roof is secured with an alarm and a lock and a key to the door access.
Consequently, the only conceivable way to reach the roof without setting off an alarm was through the fire escape and out of the window. The detectives explored various angles, considering the possibility of a date gone wrong. Reviewing the footage, they observed Elisa interacting with two men outside the hotel lobby. The men handed her a box before walking away. Suspicion rose, questioning whether they were linked to her death. However, further investigation revealed a similar box was catalogued amongst her belongings left in the room. It contained books, a delivery from the same bookstore she had visited before her disappearance. The men were merely delivery personnel.
Multiple times in our conversation, she was asking a lot about the weight of what she had and whether or not she would need to ship things home, or if she could still put it all in her suitcase and fly with the weight, because she was buying things to take home to her family.
Regarding the peculiar elevator scene, it came to light that one of the buttons Elisa pressed was for Dr. Hold, a function that keeps the elevator doors open for 2 minutes. This explains why the elevator doors remained open in the video, allowing Elisa to step out to her left. The investigation concluded that Elisa's peculiar behavior in the elevator stemmed from a paranoid hallucination due to being under-medicated for her bipolar disorder, prompting her to climb into the tank herself, believing she was in danger. Speculation arose that when she initially entered the tank, the water level might have allowed her to exit. However, as guests and residents used the tap water, the level gradually decreased, ultimately trapping her inside with no means of escape. Authorities assumed that she might have removed her clothes while inside the tank, attempting to lighten her weight.
We don't believe that to be true. We don't believe her body was hidden someplace. We believe that her body was pretty much the whole time in that storage tank. Even the storage tank has a small lid that allows for looking inside of it, a hinged lid. My understanding is that lid was closed when our officers went up there, and they didn't think someone would climb up or go up onto that.
The Los Angeles County coroner ruled her death as accidental due to drowning, with bipolar disorder identified as a significant contributing factor. Elisa Lam's tragic end was attributed to a series of circumstances intertwined with her mental health condition. The tragic incident involving Elisa Lam serves as a reminder of the crucial importance of mental health awareness and support. It highlights the significance of vigilance and timely intervention when individuals exhibit signs of distress or erratic behavior, especially those grappling with mental health issues. In hindsight, early recognition and responsive assistance could have potentially averted this heartbreaking outcome. Improved monitoring and support systems within the community, hotels, and society at large might have offered Elisa the help she needed before the situation escalated. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to show some love to the like button. I have many more strange and dark stories videos on my channel that you might want to check out.
I got nightmares in my head.